Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Mike here. So, this is going to be a little bit different of a video. Now, for part of it here, just the introduction, I wanted to make it where you could see my face, but I'm actually sitting outside. I've been listening to some phenomenal piano music, and I had a couple ideas that were on my mind. So, today we're going to be talking about number one, decision, the power of decision, the power of making a choice. And number two, perspective and perception, and how either we can take hold of this power of decision or let the decisions rule us, if that makes sense. So, like I said, hang tight during this video. It's going to be a little bit different. So, stay tuned. We're going to go dark. I'm going to turn the lights off and I'm going to go outside and we're going to have a chat. All right. So I've been sitting outside here having a cigar and a little bit of a beer, and I have my speaker. You can kind of see it right there. Changes colors, and I just love it. You know, sitting out here under the stars. We're on the verge of it being fall. You know, the leaves are going to start to change here in the next I don't know, maybe 6 to 8 weeks, possibly even 10 or 12. But we're on the verge of summer coming to a full conclusion. And it really got me thinking that, you know, the power of making a choice, the power of making a decision is the most powerful thing that we have been gifted with, you know, powerful force. Because I was looking for a word there. Because, see, thought energy and making a decision first comes in the form of a thought. Like, we decide what we think about. And either life is happening to us all the time, or life is happening for us. So, ironically, we have these, like, two sides of the reality, you know, perspective that we live. And whether that is an objective perspective or our own subjective perspective, which Nietzsche refers to as perspectivism. So basically, the reality is that, and this is very much based in science here, that the only way that we can take control of our lives is through the power of making a decision. Now, most people would think, okay, we just create different action and that dictates the results. Yeah, possibly temporarily. But we must understand that everything that's created in this entire world that we live in was first originated in the form of a thought. It was originated in using our intellect, because we are spiritual beings having a physical experience here on earth. And a lot of people don't understand that. And again, I'm referring to a lot of Bob Proctor's material here. But it's so true. And if you think about it, like everything that's been created, no matter what, you know, I mean, we could refer to as the, the automobile, the booming businesses throughout the past couple centuries, everything that has led to an effect, because we are always causing something to happen. And there's this idea that even through, because see, here in life we have positives and negatives, and that could be in the form of a thought, that could be in the form of an action, or that could also be almost a receptiveness, you know, because we could receive back negative feedback or positive feedback from the outside world in our in the form of circumstances. But, you know, really think about this for a second. The only way that anything is going to change for us is if we change the way that we think about it. And it really does. You know, Nietzsche was right. It's in the form of perspectivism. We must use one of our higher faculties of our mind, which is perception, and we must view it in a positive light, because see, we have dominion over that. We have dominion over our thoughts. And a lot of people are out here, man, and they are allowing their thoughts to completely rule them. And you see it. You can see it in their attitude. You can see it in the way that they talk and speak, and the way that they move throughout life, the way that they, shun others, and they have very negative perspectives. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. It just is. Just like Bob Proctor has stated over and over again, the results that we get just are. They're just results. And a lot of us look at this thing where if bad things are happening to us, that's just it. Are they really happening? Are these bad things happening to us, or are they happening for us? And I believe that our own spirit asks for clarity in moments of indecision, and in moments in which we don't know, what we want and what direction that we're moving. So to see this in a new perspective here, stick with me here, but to see this in a new perspective, instead of whenever something negative or bad happens to you, focus on the feeling that you get in response to that. Does it make you want something different? And if it does, why aren't you going after that? Because obviously there's something deeper going on here. There's a moment of clarity that you have an opportunity to address. And that might have been the strongest thing I've said yet in this video. But truly, we are either our own worst enemies, or we are our greatest assets. And I apologize if I'm pausing here a little bit, because I will be drawing off my cigar, and then I'm also sipping on this beverage. But it's really deep, guys. And I was just having a conversation last night with one of my good friends about these topics, and how, most people are living in habits, and they're going out into the world, and the way that they see things, again, it originates in the form of a thought. Most people don't even question who they are. And Bob Proctor, again, I'm going to reference him in many of these different videos, because the information is entirely invaluable. You can't put a price on this information, because knowledge truly is the way. Without knowledge, we are lost. We are lost in ignorance. And with that ignorance, it doesn't give us control over our lives, because a lot of us think that we don't have control over what happens to us. But see, instead of viewing all these negative things outside of us happening to us, how about we use our perception and realize the truth? And the truth is that they are happening for us. There's a moment, there's an opportunity of clarity that most of us miss. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of my own. So I'd say for the last couple of years, maybe less than a couple of years, I've been going out. And whenever I go out, it'll be to a bar, lounge, or restaurant. And every time I find myself in certain circumstances or in certain environments, because that's the key right there. Underline that word and highlight that word, environment. It is said that environment is more important than birthright. The environment that we place ourselves in, because most of us all of us have the choice over this. It's just whether we're going to listen to our inner being and take different action, and set up a different path for ourselves. There's a cigar company, by the way, that's not far from here. It's actually located in Nashville, Tennessee. And the cigar company has this phrase that they've used in their business for several different years. And the phrase is, carve your own path. And really, that's not just some phrase to pass off as, okay, this is just a cool looking phrase. This makes me feel good about myself. No, man. This is trying to tell us something. Carve our own paths. We have the choice. We have If we can just sit down and monitor our thoughts for once, then we can actually achieve what it is that we're going after. But see, that's the thing. Many people want to blame things outside of them instead of viewing this in a more positive light. Like they want to blame other people. They want to blame their boss at their job, but what are these things causing us to realize? Because there's always a positive and negative to everything, and in those moments of negativity there's always clarity. There's an opportunity for clarity, so just realize that. And there's an opportunity to make a new decision. There's an opportunity here to make a choice that perhaps we've never chosen before. And as I relight this cigar, think about what I've already said, because we're already 10 minutes in here. So it truly is our own responsibility to realize who we are. A lot of people don't even realize who they are. And that's, I sort of digressed here, but as I was saying about Bob Proctor and the image maker, right? Like our self-image, everybody's born with this self-image. And I'm not going to get too much into the concepts of the mind, which the mind is broken down into 3 different parts: the conscious level of thinking, the subconscious, and then the body. And those 3 things together work in harmony with each other. But see, through our conscious decision, through conscious action, through conscious thought, we can achieve whatever it is that we seek out. The kingdom of heaven is truly within. And you always hear this thing about the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And there's several scripture references, but I won't go there yet. But the reason why that is because the person who is getting very, very good results, they typically are getting good results. And yeah, they might run into roadblocks, but there's something there holding them in that headspace. And I truly believe that it's making a choice, a conscious effort every single day. It's taking dominion. It's taking dominion over our thought life, because our thought life will dictate everything else that we encounter in everyday life. And as we gain clarity, we understand ourselves more, because right there, what I just said is so important. Understanding ourselves. Because it is said that life is sort of like a mirror. So whatever it is that you don't have the resolve with, you're going to continue to see those things. In fact, you seek them out. I've been listening to a lot of material in the last 3 or 4 days, and I've come across some phenomenal information. And, even the concept of addiction, how believe it or not, there's a lot of people addicted to their problems. And then there's also, on the polar opposite side of that, there's people addicted to their successes, and the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. But see, can you tell that there's something happening internally with the person's mind, with the person's attitude? There really is. There's a deeper aspect of life happening on a more spiritual level that we don't even realize that is happening. We have to become aware, and we have to monitor our thoughts. Well, how do we do that? Well, we do that through, first off, watching this material and studying the information. We have to gain the knowledge, or else there's nowhere to go with it. And then we have to apply that knowledge. We have to actually start taking those actions, deliberately taking those actions. But like I said, remember that everything that's created in this whole world, the airplane, it was said that we could never bend a piece of metal and fly it over the ocean. And now we frequently do. In fact, you can watch movies on the airplanes, and there are certain flights in which you can, whether it's first class or not, you can get a massage on the plane, you can watch movies. You can order beverages. You know, there's actual bars on the plane, I've heard, on certain planes. Now, I don't fly a whole lot. I tend to travel via car wherever I go. And I've always been really used to traveling. I've fallen in love with it. And it is definitely work to drive, but again, it's how we use our perception. Is it a good or bad thing? Is it an opportunity, or is it something that you feel is holding you back? Like, it's all how you see it. You know, and like I said, it's all how you see these problems, and it's all how you see the solutions. Like, what are you focused on? The single most important aspect of this video here is taking dominion over your thought life and focusing on what it is that you want, putting all your time and energy into it. It is what you want instead of what you don't want. A lot of people are actually focused on what it is that they don't want because it keeps showing up. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Why do the poor get poorer? Because they're constantly focused. Their focus is directed on the negative side of life, on the negative circumstances. And I forget who said this, but in fact, the only thing that can grow is that which you give energy to. Think about that. Seriously, the only thing that can grow is that which you give energy to. You know, all of the greats have agreed on one thing throughout history, and that is we become what we think about. It is the dominating thoughts that we hold in our mind that dictates our quality of life. Is this the end, or is this the beginning? Are you losing now, or is it an opportunity to turn it around and win? What side are you going to focus on? And we do have the choice to do that. We do have dominion over our thought life. We do have dominion over the universal mind, over the consciousness that flows to and through us. We aren't merely human beings existing on this earth, existing in this world, to sit here and pretend like we don't matter, pretend that we can't make a difference on a world scale. Any one of us, guys, if we take dominion over our thought life, and we really hone in and focus on everything that's working and the possibilities. Are you focused more on the failure, or are you focused more on the success side? Because like I said, frequently people just go around focusing on their problems, focusing on what they don't want. Well, they in turn attract more of it to them. It's so basic, it's so simple, yet most people don't understand what's really going on. So we must study, we must develop the necessary awareness to expand our minds. People are waking up all around the world. They truly are. In both forms. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience here on earth. But in both forms, I do believe that most of us are getting in touch and getting in tune with the true aspects of ourselves. Not only that, we're accepting the aspects of ourselves, and we're starting to focus on the betterment of the world. It's not just for us. Yes, it starts with us. Don't get it twisted. It does definitely start with us. It starts with you. It starts with me. It starts with the guy down the street. It starts with your neighbors. It is true that we must help ourselves to the fullest and be fully accepting of ourselves before we can accept others, and before others in turn accept us. You know, it's said that life's a mirror. So whatever we're focusing on, we see more of outside of ourselves in the form of circumstances. So stick with this material for quite a bit. There's going to be a lot of future videos on this channel. I know you saw the first one, and this one was quite different. So if you haven't gone back and viewed the first video on this channel, please go do that. I talk about these same sort of topics. Now, in this video, I went a little bit more in depth in the material. We dove in a little bit deeper in this one. I didn't want to make this video too long, so I'm going to say a few more things, and then we're going to end off the video. Remember how I said that people don't understand who they are and they don't understand that they can make a difference in the world? It's usually because we're following somebody else's way of thinking. That's what culture is. It's habits and patterns of behavior in which we followed due to the ownership of that establishment or person or management. And we're always looking for others to follow. How about we get to know ourselves a little bit more, guys? How about we take the time to get to know ourselves a little bit more? Get to know what makes us tick. Get to know our likes and our dislikes and everything, and if things do bad happen outside of us, it's an opportunity to gain more clarity in the form of, okay, this is happening. Yes, it is reality. But we can choose what it means. This is not the end. This is an opportunity for clarity. This is an opportunity for us to take back control of our life and realize, okay, I don't like this situation, so let's stay out of these environments. And put all of your focus into what does work, into what does make us happy, and what does make us a little bit more satisfied. And the people and the environments that we surround ourselves, it's so important, guys. But getting to know ourselves, that's really where it starts. Like I said, we're spiritual beings having a physical experience here on earth. But we're not just living. We are made in the image of God, which, or source, or whatever you want to call it, energy, creation. But that's exactly my point, is that we were created in order to create. That might have been the strongest thing I've said yet. We were created in order to better the world and to expand everybody else's awareness around us so that we can live more expansive, more fulfilling lives. We're not just born and then we die. We're not just made to tiptoe our way through life, hoping to make it safely to death. Did you know most people do that? They really do. A lot of people tiptoe through life hoping to make it safely to death. And they're preparing themselves. And see, that's all cool. We can prepare ourselves, but like I said, study some of the more wealthy people in the world. I'm not just talking about money, I'm talking about happiness, health, and wealth all together. Study those individuals and realize that they're continually building upon the successes that they've already created. Why? Because they're more focused on the creation, they're more focused on what they're creating, what they've decided to create, more than the lack of anything on the negative side. They're not focused on the negative side, or else they'd be losing. And I know this is more, you're starting to gain clarity as you're hearing this information. And this is more of a meditative video if you can't tell. Because it is different. The lights are cut off. I told you I'm kind of sitting out here, and I got the speaker light, which changes colors. And I love that, because energy, represents energy, because energy itself changes colors and changes forms. You can actually photograph energy leaving the body. I believe that's called Kirlian photography. Now, last topic here is that on the topic of understanding who we are. Did you know that there are most people out here, and this is almost comical, and a lot of people are thinking that we are just meat suits. We are just meat suits walking around. We're nothing, we're just people, that's what's so special about me, and all these thoughts, man. And people are living in a state of ignorance. You can tell by the way that they live. They're not creating, they're following somebody else's habitual behavior, habitual habits of living. And that includes thoughts. That includes what we think, even on a subconscious, unconscious level. Now that shows itself in different forms. That shows that self in our results, and it also, I believe, shows itself in our dreams. If you're constantly having negative, bad dreams, maybe you need to really start addressing those things. And you probably need to take different actions, but that starts in the form of a thought. So I already said that's the final topic. I'm not going to go on too much longer. But realize that we are creative beings, and that we have been given dominion over over our mind. And yes, we have different perspectives, but we have the same universal mind. We have the same mind, which is consciousness. It's consciousness that has been gifted to us that flows through, to and through us. And once we begin opening our perspective here and opening our minds to the idea that we are creators, we were created in order to be phenomenal creators of everything that we desire to have in life. It comes from an infinite source. And then, see, that's the thing. Whenever you're dealing with infinite, you can never take more than your share. So if you're wondering why some seem to struggle so much and then others seem to just make it happen effortlessly, it's because they understand the laws. They're working in harmony with the positive side of the law. And you might want to say, well, I don't believe that. Too bad, you lose. Because the universal laws and our higher faculties, that's governed by law, just as real as gravity. You can see the effects of gravity, but you cannot see gravity. Think about that. I remember I told someone that, and it just about blew their mind. And it just about blew mine whenever I first heard the information. But think about that. We can't see gravity. We simply named gravity. We could have named gravity fish. Think about it. Gravity, we can see the effects of gravity, but we cannot see gravity itself. We can see the effects of the jet streams and of the wind. We can see the effects. But that's usually to the extent that we're able to see with our physical senses. And there's a higher spiritual power. There's universal law governing those winds. It's very, very precise. So once you understand these laws and you understand that they do happen by law, they are set laws. We begin realizing our potential. We have infinite potential. Until we pass away from this physical form. See, our spirit will live on forever, but it's our choice in the physical what we do with the spiritual. And the spiritual is always giving us more clarity. It's always giving us more clarity. Always giving us, it's constantly clarifying what it is that we want, that what we truly want. And I believe to our core, everybody generally wants the same thing. Well, why aren't some making it happen? Why are some others making it happen effortlessly while others suffer? They will also suffer in silence. It's because they don't understand these laws. They don't understand that just like gravity, just like the law of gravity, the law of vibration, the law of attraction, the law of opposites, the law of cause and effect, all of these laws are happening around us whether we like it or not. That's why I said, those who don't believe are simply ignorant of the fact that these supernatural, if you want to call it, laws exist. So food for thought here. I'm not going to keep it past 30 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and end off the video. I thought this was a very good lesson. So if you enjoyed this material, consider subscribing to the channel. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Like the video, share the video if you truly enjoyed this and found value in it. I know I did. And I believe that every time we attempt to help ourselves, we are helping others in turn.